the whole geographical sort of scenario of this region, Western Maharashtra, like the parts of Western Maharashtra and parts of Konkan is very interesting because you have Western Ghats there, which of course lead to a very, I would say, significant enhancement of rainfall over these regions compared to what you have over Marathwada. Like there is a massive difference between the mean rainfall during the monsoon season, like June to September, between these regions and Marathwada, and of course, even in the annual rainfall. And naturally, when you have these kind of rainfall patterns and mountains, you would expect dams. So these regions have got a lot of dams, including the very big Koina Dam, and you also have got lots of rivers. So this whole combination, makes flooding a very, I would say, tricky thing because you will have a lot of rainfall. At the same time, this rainfall will affect rivers because that will lead to an increase in river levels. Some of these rivers have a very interesting flowing pattern, like they are actually flowing from a higher elevation to a lower elevation that basically helps in increasing this kind of flooding. Some of them, particularly if you just take Krishna River near the Maharashtra and Karnataka border, so the river basically doesn't flow in a straight path, it keeps on meandering, and this kind of meandering pattern further helps in spreading of flood waters if at all there is flooding in that particular region. And this is what causes a lot of complicated scenario, like heavy rainfall, especially when you have a unprecedented rainfall of this order that what we have seen right now. Then that's going to swell your rivers, then that's going to increase dam water levels, then you have to open floodgates, which of course will add to increasing river levels, and then that basically leads to floods. So when it comes to predicting events like this, it's very important that we are able to get a very clear idea of two things. The first one, of course, is the meteorology, like what kind of weather events are expected over a region, let's say over the next couple of days. And the second thing is in terms of impacts, like what particular impact that weather event is going to have over that particular region. There are constraints when it comes to location-specific forecasting. For example, if you check in any weather model or ask a meteorologist, let's say if Mahabaleshwar is going to get 500 millimeter rainfall in a day or so, then that's going to be a problem for forecasters as well as these weather models to tell, because there are lots of constraints when it comes to location-specific forecasting. But the other part of it, which is of course the hydrological part and estimating what kind of impacts these weather events are going to have, so that thing is not being precisely estimated in India, and of course a lot of work needs to be done. Now what I mean by this is that if you just pass on this information of heavy rainfall or very heavy rainfall over a region, a forecast of that, it's not going to help stakeholders and people beyond a certain extent, because for them it's very important to know what is going to happen in their region, like whether they are going to witness landslides, whether rivers in their localities are going to swell up and they are going to have this river flooding issue and so on. And these things need to be told properly. So that is one important thing, because if in the past it was like 300 millimeter rainfall event triggering a landslide, it might be possible that 100 or 150 millimeter rainfall events per day will now trigger landslides, and that's the uncertain part of it. So the biggest challenge in my opinion now is to identify such areas. It's going to be challenging because we don't have that much time in hand to go for a very comprehensive sort of risk assessment of these mountains and villages that are located just close to these mountains or at the foothills of these mountains. But this needs to be done to some extent so that we can actually move people from such prone areas and move them to safer locations. Otherwise, we don't want to get into a situation, let's say in August or September, when it's raining heavily again, you have landslides and people are getting affected by it. So that's the first thing that needs to be addressed. Using the fact that you get this kind of nice break events within the monsoon season. For example, the break event that's going on right now, and even in early part of August, we are not expecting that heavy rainfall over this region. So somewhere these kind of dry periods need to be used properly to discharge excess water so that whenever it starts raining heavily again, you're not going to be in a situation where you are forced to discharge water, and that further sort of triggers problems and causes a lot more problems. Disaster management organizations, state disaster management organization, or even the local administration. So there seems to be a kind of disconnection between the two. Of course, they are in touch with each other, and there's kind of a nice exchange of information going on. But in this process, a lot of time is wasted, because if an on-duty meteorologist tracks a particular weather event, I think he or she should now be in a position to straight away alert people. And this needs to be done, let's say, after vigorous training, because when it comes to alerting people, like I said, it's also important to tell them what kind of impacts are going to happen. And for that, it's very important that the forecaster has a very nice local level knowledge of the geography, elevation, and rivers, and all these things, and so on. So that could be done with the help of people from disaster management organizations, or specific people working in different groups, like for example hydrology and so on. So that needs to be done, because if you have this kind of very nice integrated working technique, or a single sort of command center from where everything is being tracked, and alerts are straight away being sent to people. Of course, they will still have to send alerts to local administration, and the local administration will then get in touch with people. But straight away from on-duty meteorologists, I think these alerts need to go, because then that will make a lot of difference. It will it will reduce the disaster response time, and that will definitely make a lot of impact. These events happen because of some meteorological conditions which must have been amplified by climate change, but to what extent is something we don't know right now, because for that people will have to do a couple of research studies. Like they will have to run model simulations and model experiments and try and find out how these events would have been different if they would have occurred, let's say, in the pre-industrial period, or what will happen if these events happen in the future, like 2030s, 2050s, how much more rainfall we will get, and then lots of things become clear. But it will be incorrect to say that we can get events like this right in the next year itself, because that, again, the meteorology itself plays a big role in that. But we cannot ignore the environmental factors that have definitely played a big role in this particular event. So after the 2019 floods in same parts like Kolhapur and then Sangli, lots of committees were set up, and there are lots of reports where people tried and assessed what happened in that particular event, and what kind of environmental factors played a role in that. So some things are quite clear that all these activities, like for example constructions along flood lines, and then other factors like blocking of the natural drainage systems of rivers. So these factors are reducing the sort of speed of receding of flood waters. Environmental factors definitely have played a big role, and these are just a few factors to list. There are lots of other factors, but the whole thing itself will take a lot of time if I keep on talking about it.
We are truthful, unafraid, and independent because of you. Now you can help our reporting from the ground. Go to thequint.com, click Become a Member tab, choose a plan, and pay, because the truth is worth it.